was into a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid, and some of them I'll defend until my very last breath, while others I wouldn't blame you for thinking I might have been on the spectrum for liking. Well, more than you already do, but you get my point. My interests range from cartoons, sitcoms, and of course, anime series, including the one I plan on covering today. Beyblade is one of those animes that was created because a company had an idea for a toy, so they created a whole ass cartoon to try and market it towards every brain-dead child who had access to a television, aka 10-year-old me. It's very much in the same vein as shows like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Bakugan Battle Brawlers, Cardfight Vanguard, etc. But while I never really got into those three shows I just mentioned, mainly because I didn't understand how to fucking play them, Beyblade was by far the one that I became the most obsessed with as a kid. Not just because the game itself was fun and simple, but the anime was actually pretty damn epic for something that was meant for children, specifically the Metal Saga, which I consider to be one of the all-time gems of my childhood. Beyblade was, in fact, that serious, and seeing all these clips going viral has got me wanting to revisit the entire franchise all over again. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now.
Beyblade, Beyblade, let it rip! Beyblade!
The story of Beyblade takes place in a world where literally every single living, breathing person within a 1-meter radius either plays or knows about the existence of Beyblade. Doesn't matter if they're kids, teenagers, or even grown-ass men. There ain't no one that's too cool for these spinning tops. This fucking game is 10 times more popular in this world than football is in ours. Even the location that the story takes place in is called, I kid you not, Metal Bay City. Oh, and also, basically when you beat people in battle, you get something called Beyblade points. It's never really stated what these points are for, but this is the only season where this is relevant, so yeah, whatever. Our protagonist, Jinga Hagane, is the new guy in town looking to face off against strong new opponents to test his mettle. After arriving in town, he meets this little midget called Kenta, who was fighting this fat piece of shit Benkei, who was a member of a gang called the Face Hunters. Yes, there are whole ass street gangs revolving around a game of spinning fucking tops. Look at these motherfuckers, they've got a whole ass hideout and everything. Like, what the hell? Where are your parents? Have they seen your report cards? So anyway, Kenta was getting his ass beat by Benkei, and Jinga, being the protagonist, comes swooping in with his Beyblade Storm Pegasus and saves the day. Benkei and his goons run off while Jinga and Kenta begin their newfound friendship. Unfortunately, the very next day, Jinga gets brought to a construction site and gets jumped by like 50 dudes all at once. Like, look at this shit. Fucking hell, dude, it's just Beyblade. It's not that deep. I digress though. Despite being completely surrounded, Jinga easily beats every single one of these schmucks, and then we're introduced to my goat, Kiyoya Tategami, the leader of the Face Hunters and the owner of the Beyblade Fang Leone.
This right here is my favorite thing, ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
Now, I really need you to understand that when I say the rivalry between these two is legendary, I'm being completely dead ass. Jinga vs. Kiyoya was one of the coldest rivalries in the entire franchise. They're up there with Tyson and Kai from the original trilogy, but that's a story for another day. The point is, this shit was like the autistic version of Goku and Vegeta, and it was fucking lit. The Face Hunters literally pushed down Kenta. These grown-ass teenagers straight up bullied this little fucking midget and stole his Beyblade just so they could lure Jinga to the top of a skyscraper to fight Kiyoya. And the battle itself was epic as hell. Apparently luring Jinga up there was a strategic move because it allowed Kiyoya to utilize the wind at the top of the tower to use a special move, blowing the air around like a pseudo-tornado and shit. He actually had Jinga up against the rope for a majority of the fight, but of course Jinga, being the MC, finds a way around it by letting himself get launched into the air, allowing Pegasus to slam down into Leon. And if you've seen this show, you are straight up lying if you say you don't remember his special move.
Pegasus Star Blast attack!
He said it! He said it!
After Kiyoya loses to Jinga, he's approached by this creepy-ass guy called Doji, and just everything about this dude just screams evil. He was introduced as a dark silhouette. He spends his free time twiddling a wine bottle, purple suit, and he's the head of an organization called the Dark Nebula. If this was any other show, this would be corny and stupid as hell, but because it's Beyblade, this shit is absolute peak, I tell you, and I'm not joking when I say that. In typical antagonist fashion, Doji offers to give Kiyoya more power, but in return he has to battle Jinga in a rematch. Kiyoya of course lets his ego get in the way and tries to take this Michael Afton looking guy down, but he and his crew end up getting bodied again with zero effort, and so his training arc begins. I just want you to take a good long look at the footage I'm showing on screen right now. They got a whole ass lab with a gym setup for a goddamn game about time. pops. And it doesn't just stop there. Doji was putting this motherfucker Kyoya through the absolute ringer, taking him to the canyons, skydiving off planes, and climbing mountains. At one point, he actually starts falling off the cliff and he has to use his Bay launcher to stop himself from becoming a stain at the bottom. Like, bro, what is that launcher made of? I need me one of those. And to top it all off, he even runs into a pack of wolves, straight up wild animals who wanted this man for dinner, and he scares them off by using his Beyblade to make a tornado. And this encounter is actually the thing that sparked his awakening and completed his training. While all this was happening with Kyoya, Benkei starts becoming friends with Kenta and gets integrated into Jinga's group of friends. I don't like either of these two, but I'll admit they do have some chemistry together. However, one thing I have to mention though is that after Doji gives Benkei Dark Bowl, his main bay, this is where absolutely everything starts to go downhill for Benkei. I don't know what the directors told his voice actor, but the dude just completely drops the fucking ball. His whole ass speech pattern changed. I know it's a kid show and I shouldn't be taking it too seriously, but I can't help but cringe every time Benkei says shit like bull this, bull that. Like, bro, what are you doing? Just talk normally. His voice and speech patterns were just fine in the earlier episodes. He even sounded kind of cool and low-key, smart and analytical. But once Dark Bull got into his hands, not only did he start talking like a retard, but any semblance of intelligence just dissipated from his character. I just don't get what was the thought process behind this. But I digress. Benkei might have joined the gang, but now that Kyoya has completed his training, he is out for blood. Specifically Jinga's. First, he takes out his old gang, the Face Hunters. Then he smacks down both Benkei and Kenta at the same time, and even tries to step on their Beyblades after beating them. The only reason he let him go is so that they can tell Jinga to meet him at the arena so that they can run it back at the base stadium. So naturally, Jinga shows up, and this dude Kyoya is actually howling into the air like, what in the actual hell is this furry ass motherfucker doing? Look at this shit. So the stage is set. Jinga and Kyoya at the stadium, the sky is dark and rainy, and Doji is just,
Eating a pepperoni pizza with a knife and fork is so much more civilized than eating with one's hands. And this orange juice is, a perfect complement to the tangy tomato sauce.
I don't know who the hell wrote this dialogue, but I want to kiss them. This is hilarious. Anyway, the battle takes off, and Kyoya starts going into an evil monologue, straight up yapping about all the hard work he's put in, cackling with lightning strikes, and to his credit, he actually starts beating Jinga. Bro created a tornado so large it started extending to the sky. He got all the other kids in town caught in the crossfire. Hikaru, who was at a cafe sipping some tea, sees this huge-ass tornado coming out of a stadium in the middle of town, and the only thing she says is, must be a Bay battle. Like, excuse me? The first thought wasn't a natural disaster or I need to get the fuck out of here. It's just, oh, it must be a Bay battle. What is this world, bro? Is this a normal occurrence to you people? But that's not even the most outrageously funny thing to happen in this episode, if you can believe it. Kyoya continues to absolutely shit on Jinga. Pegasus is straight up getting beat down so hard that the feathers start falling off of him. Kyoya's all... And Jinga's all like, Pegasus! And just when Jinga's about to lose hope, Benkei shows up and yells at him to not give up. And like clockwork, as soon as he gets the chain going, all the other kids in town who Jinga befriended all show up and start cheering for him. Typical power friendship type shit. This already should have been cheesy enough to give him the protagonist boost, but just to fully drive in the fact that Kyoya is not evil, Leon, yes, the actual Beyblade itself, starts fucking crying. This piece of plastic is shedding honest-to-God tears of sadness. Are these toys actually alive right now? But either way, this gives Jinga the motivation he needs, so he locks in, ready to get his head back in the game. Kyoya pulls out another special move called King Lion Tearing Blast, which creates 3 tornadoes, and they start manhandling Pegasus like no tomorrow. Tornadoes wailing on this thing harder than a drunk father that just got laid off. But just when things were looking really bad, Pegasus starts using the tornado to increase its own rotation, essentially absorbing Kyoya's power. Leon combines all 3 tornadoes and sends Pegasus up in the air, and Kyoya gets all cocky, thinking he won. But then the sky clears and Pegasus is a whole ass constellation buff and comes crashing down with the meteor shower attack. attack. This man hits Leon so goddamn hard that Kyoya actually starts getting flashbacks to his childhood all the way to when he was a baby. So Jinga wins the battle and Kyoya finally learns the importance of friendship and to never lose track of his blader's spirit. Unfortunately, before they can have a sappy moment, my man Doji pulls up to the stadium on a helicopter, and this actually continues on to an entirely new arc where they introduce possibly the most goated character in the entirety of the Metal Saga. However, I'm gonna blue ball you and cut this video right here. If you couldn't already tell, this was less of a review and more just a scripted reaction video more than anything, because really, what did you actually expect? Sure, it'd be incredibly easy to nitpick the shit out of things, like the story, characters, and so on and so forth, like all my other stuff, but honestly, if you're such a joyless goober that you find some level of accomplishment from picking apart something as low-hanging as this show, then I don't know what to tell you, Chief. The Beyblade series is a show that was created with the only target demographic being children, and it delivers exactly what it intends to do. Yes, it might be goofy, cheesy, and a little bit cringy at times, but it's also clearly aware that it is all these things and never ever pretends to be anything else. We're talking about a show where it is confirmed canon that Moses split the ocean with a Beyblade. Yeah, it's obviously ridiculous and stupid, but to a child, that's probably one of the coolest things they've ever heard, and that's all this anime cares about. If you're familiar with me as a critic in any way, then you would know that I have absolutely no problem with a brain-dead plot as long as the show itself is not being pretentious about it. Shows like Tower of God, Violet Evergarden, and The Rising of the Shield Hero all fall into this category where they're adding so much unnecessary garbage because the author thinks he's oh so smart, when in reality they're all retards that thinks making a plot complicated is the same as complex. The Beyblade Metal Saga is very similar to those three shows I just mentioned in a way that they do aim to bring bigger and bigger storylines with each new season, but there's clearly a certain level of self-awareness to it, and it's because of this self-awareness that I'm able to put aside any harsh criticisms in favor of just sitting back and enjoying the show for what it is. And I really mean that. Rewatching all three seasons of this franchise has been one of the most entertaining viewing experiences I've had in a long time, and I really do recommend you check out the rest of the series by yourself. Or don't. There's definitely more productive ways to spend your time. But either way, I'm the pseudo-intellectual, and let me hear you roar.
Yeah!